Hi, Ghosties. I'm Macy,
And I'm Natalie.
and the time has arrived for all of us to tell Natalie who Mothman really is.
And we have something
So much.
we have something very exciting.
Yes, one of you, you know who you are, sent us a Mothman from Build-A-Bear, and it's the cutest, most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Shout out Joe. One of the kindest people ever to have come across us on the internet. I cannot believe this.
It is as big as a child.
I am sick about this. How dare you, Joe? But also, thank you so much. I am just
It's
blown
wild.
away. We
Yeah.
opened the box and I just died. I
Yeah.
died.
I'm speechless. It's insanely huge
He's really cute.
and adorable, yes, and I love him.
But yeah. Thank you.
So, cryptid, alien, mutated animal, government experiment, or something else entirely. I'll let you be the judge. Regardless, he brought and continues to bring a lot of excitement and eyes to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, even to this day. There are Mothman-themed foods and toys, a statue made in his likeness, several books about the creature, be it fiction or non, including a series of romance novels wherein Mothman is the main love interest.
Hey,
If
all right.
that's your thing. An entire festival dedicated to the mystery that has been running for more than 20 years at this point. But it all began in 1967. While most of the population of this small town just over the river from Ohio was sleeping, a winged creature was flying overhead, getting ready to send fear and awe rippling through the town, nation, and world for years to come.
I know nothing, but I'm very excited. What do you think?
Hmm.
What do you think he is? Or do you Okay, actually, no.
We'll save our theories for the end, as we usually do.
Do you believe in it? Is it real?
There's something afoot.
Okay.
Or was.
Okay. I know nothing. I'm going in completely blind.
I knew very little before I started research on this. I ended up reading 2 books for this. It was like Mothman, Facts of the Legend or something. I listed it later on. And then also Mothman Prophecies by John Keel. Very strange, weird information in here.
Okay.
So our tea today was sent in by one of you guys from far away in Scotland. It is the Edinburgh Tea and Coffee Company Highland Blend. And I looked at the ingredients and it just said tea. So I'm excited.
It's a mystery, but let's go.
So on the box, it said to add a little milk. And I did. And I'm glad I did. It tastes really nice.
I did not add milk, but I think it tastes good.
Yeah, this is a solid, like a solid everyday choice.
Yeah, I'm into this.
I'll
Thank
be
you.
drinking this again.
Thank you so much.
So stories of a giant bird-like man being spotted in the remote areas of Point Pleasant and surrounding areas began in 1967 and were quite frequent for over a year's time. It's said over 100 sightings were reported to the Mason County Sheriff's Department of a 7-foot-plus sized bird man with a massive wingspan and large red eyes. And those are just the sightings that were reported. I mean, plenty of people saw a glimpse of the creature and never told a soul for fear of judgment. Or even worse, fear of the creature itself.
I can't see you over this head.
I
I'm
know.
literally just watching your eyes. Yeah, so I'm like trying to follow along, but I'm just so distracted because we're just like peeking over.
Peeking?
He's huge.
Well, huge, not even as huge as the real Mothman was.
7 feet. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, though no one was ever harmed physically by the creature, it was imposing, and unlike anything most of these witnesses had ever seen, or have seen since. Many still refuse to talk about the encounters with the media. So even to this day, they're just like, no, I don't want to go there.
Why? Is it like bad luck? Does he come and get you?
No one's ever been hurt.
Or they're just
Few
like...
people have been chased, but it's just scary. You'll see.
Okay, because as of right now, if I saw something like you're describing, I would be telling everybody.
You'll
I would.
see.
Okay.
But there is so much more beyond that seems to be connected to the winged beast. Along with the creature of the night, there was a massive uptick in UAPs and strange visitors to the town. It seemed that each person who had an encounter with Mothman or an unidentified flying object met with an unknown and very odd man, dubbed by some Men in Black, questioning them on their encounter and, in some cases, telling them not to speak of it again. There are plenty of theories as to what this all means, but there is one that connects the sightings of Mothman to a horrible tragedy in the small town of only about 4,000 people, where it all began in December of 1968. But we'll start a year before with the first reported sighting of what became known all over the world as Mothman.
Okay. So it's thought that he could possibly be a government experiment where it's like half human, half moth.
Beast, thing, bird, possibly. I'll explain more. It's
Okay.
very complicated.
Okay, I'm gonna stop asking questions.
There's a lot. There's a lot. It was, and you know what? You can ask questions. I don't know that I'll be able to answer.
Well, if I ask them, I'm also asking
The broader
Yeah.
audience.
Let's see what the audience thinks. That's like one of my favorite videos ever to exist.
Yeah.
The girl with the wings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was November 15th, 1966, when two young couples, Linda and Roger Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallet, were out riding around in the TNT area just north of Point Pleasant. They were out chasing Parkers, as Linda put it. The two couples were out here often. Linda claimed that several people they knew would often come out to the area of Route 62 to drag race and hang out. As I said, it was a small town with not much to do after dark, so as many of you from small town America know, riding around is peak entertainment, though they insist that no one in the car was drinking or on drugs of any kind that night.
Riding around in a small town is the only thing to do,
Honestly, it's fun.
no matter the age. And yeah, a lot of fun.
In an interview years later with the authors of Mothman, The Facts Behind the Legend, so the first book that I read, Linda said it was around 11:30 that night, cold and clear weather, no rain, no fog. They were approaching the North Power Plant when they saw it for the first time. The first thing they noticed were its very large, bright red, glowing eyes. They were as large as baseballs and hypnotizing. They couldn't tell much about the creature's face because the eyes would just draw their gaze straight back to the fiery stare. This is from Linda from the same interview. Quote, it was about 7 feet tall. It had wings that were visible on its back. The tips of the wings could be seen above its shoulders. The body of it was like a slender, muscular man and was flesh-colored. Its wings were an ashen white in color. The wings looked like angel wings. Its face couldn't be seen because the eyes simply hypnotized you when you looked into them. You didn't have to look directly into them. If you looked close to its face, your eyes were just drawn to its eyes. It wasn't that it didn't have a head, it was just that when your eyes got close to its head and neck area, the eyes consumed your vision, and you couldn't see anything but them. It had arms and legs, like a muscular man. When we first saw it, we had just topped a hill in the TNT area, and when the headlights of our car hit it, it looked directly at us, as if it was scared. It had one of its wings caught in a guide wire near a section of road close to the power plant, and was pulling on its wing with its hands, trying to free itself. Its hands were really big. It was really scared. We stopped the car and sat still while it was trying to free itself from the wire. We didn't sit there long, just long enough to scare it. It seemed to think we were going to hurt it. We were all screaming, go, go, go! But we couldn't perform the actual action of leaving the scene. It was like we were hypnotized. It finally got its wings loose from the wire and ran into the power plant.
Into the plant?
Yeah, it was an abandoned power plant, so it was just kind of like a
okay.
factory.
Okay. I was thinking like people worked
Working?
there. Yeah. And I was
No.
like,
No
okay.
one was there. Or no one was supposed to be there. Both couples claimed that the creature looked clumsy as it ran, but they weren't going to stay around to investigate. They drove as fast as they could from the scene, unsure what they just saw, but not slowing down. A little ways down the road, they noticed the same creature perched on top of a large billboard. It noticed them, spreading its 10-foot wingspan out to its side, and flew straight up into the air. It was chasing them. They sped up, getting their vehicle up over 100 miles per hour, but the creature kept up. It was gliding alongside them, going above and dropping back down, making a loud squeaking noise as it chased. The creature eventually gave up on its pursuit and disappeared into the trees as the two couples, in shock at what they just witnessed, made their way back into town. They first went to a local store to come to terms with what they had just seen. They couldn't believe it. The two men eventually told the local paper, quote, I'm a hard guy to scare, Scarberry said. But last night I was for getting out of there. Quote, this doesn't have an explanation to it, Mallet said. It was an animal, but nothing like I've seen before. They decided to head back in that direction. What they saw couldn't possibly be right. There had to be an explanation. But when they got a little ways back down the road, there it still was. That's when they went to Tiny's Diner nearby and decided that they were going to go to the police. It took them a few minutes to convince the officers on duty that this wasn't a prank and that they weren't under the influence of anything. Later, Roger would tell the newspaper that if all four of them hadn't experienced it, he wouldn't have believed it himself and would have just gone home. Like, he would have thought it was all something he made up because there was no way.
Yeah.
But all four of them had seen and experienced it, just as they said, and eventually they convinced the police that something happened out there in the dark. A deputy, Millard Halstead, went to check out the scene, but nothing was there. There was no sign of any giant man-bird creature having been out there that night. The two couples went back home to the Scarberry house and stayed up the rest of the night, unable to sleep after experiencing this ordeal. The next day, their story hit the newsstand with an article in the Point Pleasant Register titled, quote, Couples see man-sized bird, creature, something. And so the frenzy began. People began to flock to the TNT area in search of the bird, and the sightings began to pile up. Mary Heyer, a journalist for the Athens, Ohio Messenger, and a woman who eventually became very involved in the investigation of Mothman, wrote her first article covering the beast the next day titled, "Winged Red-Eyed Thing Chases Point Pleasant Couples Across Countryside." And then, on the 17th, the Herald Dispatch in Huntington printed an article titled, "Bird, Plane, or Batman? Mason Countyans Hunt Mothman," giving the creature its official name.
Interesting that they would call it a moth. Okay,
Well, it was because Batman was really big, and there was like Mothman or the Killer Moth or whatever the bad guy in Batman comics was at that point.
I don't know, but I have several things to say. One, Petey did not just spawn out of nowhere. We didn't introduce him because he wasn't in here originally, but he showed up. So
Now he is.
he's roaming around. Second, I was expecting like a fuzzy creature like this.
Yeah.
When you said flesh toned and then white wings, that's
I told you.
that's
you.
disgustingly scary.
It's horrifying.
When I think of Mothman, I think of this little guy on the couch with us right now.
And that's no.
I think of fuzzy, like a moth, just a moth but bigger with like
No,
human legs.
This is much cuter. And I said they made a statue. I'll wait to the end. Or do you want me to show you what it looks like now?
Show me the statue.
So an artist got with some of the people who saw the Mothman and created a statue.
And do they all agree that he looks like that?
Some variation of this.
Oh my god. He has like chicken feet.
Well, I don't know if all of them thought he had chicken feet. Some of them said he was a man with moth wings. Just a very, very large something.
I didn't know we were going heavy on the man. I thought it was heavy on the moth.
No.
I didn't
it's
know it was
more man than moth.
the man moth. I thought it was Mothman.
It's like a bird man winged beast thing.
I'm disappointed.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
But
Now do you understand why people are like, no, I don't want to even revisit that?
yes, because that's horrifying.
That plus all the things that are coming.
I'm thinking about this man.
No.
And I
This,
think
if I saw this, I'd tell everyone.
he's cute.
Locals took to the countryside with rifles and gear on the hunt for this elusive creature, and over the next few days, at least 8 people reported seeing the Mothman. 2 of these sightings were reported by volunteer firemen who claimed to see a very, quote, large bird with red eyes. Many who hadn't had the pleasure of seeing the creature yet believed it had to be a regular old bird, maybe a bird that wasn't typical to the area. But those who did luck out were adamant that this was no regular bird. News crews were enamored by the story from all over and took to Point Pleasant at a chance to talking to witnesses and maybe even capturing evidence or a sighting for themselves. Before moving on to other sightings, I did just want to give you a quick background on Point Pleasant, particularly the area in which Mothman was spotted most often. So I'm not like going into detail of like how it was founded and all the battles that took place, anything like that. Just a little quick aside.
Things surrounding Mothman.
Yes.
Not history heavy.
Yes. So starting with the curse of Chief Cornstalk. Known as Chief Cornstalk by settlers, he was a Shawnee leader and played a crucial role in defending his homeland and several battles prior to the American Revolutionary War. By the time the revolution began, he still played his part, but this time as an advocate for his people's neutrality in the war. He was eventually captured and imprisoned during a diplomatic visit to an American fort nearby the Point Pleasant area, and he was murdered while there. There is a legend around his death that I'm pretty sure has been debunked at this point, but I still wanted to leave it as some context that some of the Point Pleasant people of Point Pleasant pointed to at the time the whole Mothman craze was happening. It was said that as he died, he uttered a curse on the land in which he lost his life. Some believe that his curse could have had something to do with Mothman and the strange and unexplainable events that followed. So just throwing that out there, I'm pretty positive. I read in several places that it's been debunked, like this is not a true thing.
Yeah.
But some of the people of Point Pleasant in the day
Believed this.
or
Okay.
might have believed this.
And that's like any like legend. I feel like we hear that often. It says someone in the long ago put a curse on the land. We hear that actually really often.
Yeah. Another theory that we'll touch more on a little bit later involves the TNT area and the McClintock State Wildlife Management Area. So I'll give you a quick background on that as well. It was used as the site of TNT manufacturing during World War II. It is currently a public park used for hunting, fishing, camping, etc. But in the 1940s, the U.S. government added around 100 above-ground bunkers made of steel reinforced concrete that are called igloos. They are all covered with dirt and grass, so it looks like a small hill until you approach the entrance. So above, you can't tell anything's there.
Yeah.
Just like a grassy area. After the war, the military gave the state back the management of the area, though some of the water in the area became contaminated by some of the toxins from the chemicals and things that they needed to make the TNT.
Mm-hmm.
An effort was made by the EPA and the government to clean it up, but we will leave that here for now.
Oh,
So it did
okay.
seep into the water a little bit in the land.
Great. Always love something like that.
Yes. I'm pretty sure at this point in time it is mostly cleaned up, if not all the way, but that did happen.
Still.
That did happen.
Any type of like pollution like that always like, ugh, I feel like I got stabbed in the heart.
Yeah, I agree. So after the stories of sightings began to come out to the public, it was found that there may have been earlier witnesses to the so-called Mothman, and further out than just Point Pleasant as well. For instance, in August of that same year, a man named Lawrence Gray arrived home from church in the evening with an overwhelming feeling that something was in his home. When he went inside, all was normal except that the lock to his basement was unlocked. It was like one of those little hook, you stick a little thing in a hook. So he locked it back and went off to sleep. Then, at around 3 a.m., he awoke to find himself sitting in his living room, looking out the window and watching a car drive out of his driveway. When he turned around, he saw something that stood about 6 feet tall with deep eyes and large wings standing there looking at him. He was paralyzed and watched the creature for several seconds before it disappeared out of his home and everything was normal again. So, one of the first strange things with a tall man with wings. Jumping forward to November 1st, just a couple of weeks before the two couples reported their sighting, apparently a National Guardsman working at the armory in Point Pleasant said he saw a large brown humanoid figure perched on the limb of a tree. He thought it was probably just a large bird and didn't think much of it afterwards. Then, on November 12th, a few towns over from Point Pleasant, a group of 5 men digging a grave late in the evening claimed that they looked overhead while digging and spotted a very large figure soar over their heads. It went from tree to tree and almost resembled a human being. So 5 of these guys were like, what is that?
Wait, okay, go back to the other guy. The car driving away, was that like, was someone in his house and they dropped Mothman off? Like, just go do your thing, bro.
We'll kind of get into it a little later, but it's implied, I believe, Men in Black.
Okay.
And I don't know the connection between Mothman, the Men in Black, UFOs. I don't know if anybody will ever know, like, the true connection reason. But wherever Mothman is seen, the Men in Black usually follow.
Interesting. Okay. This is so much different than I thought it was going to be.
It's very strange. Then there was one more strange incident the night before the Scarberry and Mallet sighting. A man named Merle Partridge was sitting in the living room of his Salem, West Virginia home about 100 miles east of Point Pleasant, watching TV when strange patterns began to appear on the screen. Next, he heard a strange sound right outside. He got up to investigate, shining a light in the direction he thought the noise was coming from. That's when he saw large, red circles that looked to him like bicycle reflectors. His German Shepherd, named Bandit, was out on the porch and began howling and acting very strange. Bandit took off in the direction of the red lights and never returned. So Merle went out in search for his dog the next day because that was very unlike his dog. Like, his dog was well trained, and even if he did go off on his own, he'd always come back, and he didn't. So he went out, found tracks around where he saw the red lights, and it looked as though the dog had been walking in circles, but didn't really go anywhere beyond that. The tracks just stopped. It was just kind of like a circular motion, and there was just no dog, and the dog never returned again.
No, I thought you were going to say he came back, but he was just a little bit weird.
No, I wish.
Man,
no, we never saw Bandit again.
Heartbreaking.
Maybe someone did, but Merle did not.
Aww.
People were beginning to piece together all of their sightings and making connections back to the Mothman. Back in Point Pleasant, the night after the two couples experienced the bird creature for the first time, a woman named Marcella Bennett and a few of her relatives had a strange encounter of their own. Marcella was 21 years old at the time and traveled with her 2-year-old daughter Tina, her 19-year-old brother Raymond, and his 18-year-old wife Kathy to visit their sister who lived in the TNT area with her husband. When they arrived, they found that their sister wasn't home and it was just her husband with their 3 kids. So after chatting for a minute, they went back to their car to head home. It was around 9 p.m. at that time, and Raymond noticed strange lights in the sky, but Marcella wasn't paying too much attention, instead focusing on getting her daughter back in the car and heading home because it was kind of late. That's when, out of the corner of her eye, Marcella sees the creature standing behind their car. The first thing she noticed was its legs. They were a man's legs, but they weren't just covered in skin. It looked to Marcella like they may have been covered in feathers or something similar. It was not regular human flesh. Its wings were drawn in towards its body, and its head was turned to the side, almost sunk into its shoulder. It was taller than 6 feet and looked to her like a bird-man hybrid. Raymond and his wife saw the creature too and were yelling for Marcella to run, but she was paralyzed, just as many others who come across the cryptid seemed to be. She eventually fell to the ground trying to get back to the house and laid there with her daughter almost as if she were in a trance. So it was like when she finally could move, it was like almost slow motion, and she was like fighting with something in her to get away. She heard what sounded like the flapping of wings by the time she was able to make it back to her feet and get back into the house with the rest of her family. She was bruised and cut from her fall, but they were all safe, if not frightened to the bone. Raymond finally was able to call the police and report what they had all seen, including their brother-in-law and their 3 nieces and nephews. So the kids saw it, everyone's in the house crying, screaming. Some reports say that the creature actually made it onto the porch and was pushing up against the locked door and trying to peek into the windows. But by the time the police arrived 15 to 20 minutes later, the creature was gone.
What does he want?
No one knows.
Do we know?
No one knows. No one knows. They did a search of the area but could find no evidence of the creature, just as what happened with the scarberries and the mallets, so nothing. Afterwards, Marcella didn't drive at night and had trouble sleeping due to the most horrible nightmares. She could hear the wings flapping from time to time and just knew that it would come back. She could feel the creature's presence, that same paralyzing sense of dread that many report having when encountering the monster. So even from that day on, she felt its presence around every once in a while.
That is chilling. The sound of the wings flapping. Because even I get spooked when I go outside and all the little barn swallows I have up in my porch, when I hear their wings, I get scared. Imagine a 7-foot-tall man creature thing.
Following this, report after report would come in all around the area of a strange red-eyed creature with wings, and they just poured in. On November 25th, a man named Tom Urey was driving along Route 62 on his way to work, the same road that the couples on the 15th were driving. He saw something very large fly up into the air like a helicopter out over the trees. That's what he thought it was at first, a helicopter, by the way it moved. But then it began circling his car. It looked like an extremely large bird with a wingspan of about 10 to 12 feet, and it was flying fast. It kept up with his car as he drove along Route 62, and it followed along with him for just a little bit before disappearing back into the trees. So a lot of times people said he didn't flap his wings. He just would like glide.
Oh, is that scarier? What's scarier?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. You know what? My first picture was like some weird guy in a weird kind of ghillie suit type thing who had like these retractable like hang glider wings or something, like going out terrorizing people and being weird.
But I don't know, so many people are seeing it.
Yeah.
And people are seeing it in group settings.
And a lot of people said like it looked like a bird. Like it was a very bird-like, the way it moved. Sometimes it was just animalistic.
I'm disturbed. This is not at all what I thought it was going to be.
It gets weirder.
Oh,
it gets weirder.
Okay.
On November 27th, the 18-year-old niece of Mary Heyer, her name was Connie Carpenter, was driving home in the middle of the day when she claimed to have seen a large, gray, 7-foot-tall humanoid figure with glowing red eyes. She nearly ran off the road when she saw its massive wings unfold and begin flying right towards her windshield. She hit the gas, speeding up to get away from the creature as it flew over her car. Curiously, just after this sighting, she developed conjunctivitis that lasted over 2 weeks, which some believe was a result of staring directly into the creature's eyes. So I know John Keel, in his book, he postulated that for some reason, looking directly into its eyes caused irritation of the eyeballs.
I really don't know what to say right now. I was thinking...
It just gets weirder, too. It just gets weirder, I swear.
I was so off. On what I thought.
Going into it, I thought it was more like a Bigfoot type creature. Like, it was just this weird thing that was like... Or like a gnome or a duende or something that, like, people saw it. And it was just like this weird little thing. No, it is... There's so much.
I thought it was fuzzy and literally just a large moth.
It might be fuzzy.
I thought it was just a large moth.
I think that would be... That might be scarier. I don't know.
I would much rather have a large moth that just walks on 2 feet.
Would you?
Yeah, because moths typically, they just they don't want to be bothered. They just fly around and land on things. Yeah. They're not attacking.
They're not people.
Creeping people out.
As I said, many residents of Point Pleasant and the surrounding area were often out looking for the creature in the TNT area after reports began rolling in. 2 men, Bob Bosworth and Alan Coates, claimed they had a brush with the creature in late November. They were out by the abandoned North Power Plant when they saw the characteristic red eyes staring down at them from the roof of the building. So the 2 men went on to investigate. They thought that maybe someone was pulling a prank and had placed reflectors on a board to give people a fright, because, that would happen. But what they found was much wilder. As they approached where they believed the red lights were, they found a nearly 7-foot-tall figure turn and begin walking towards them. Bosworth exclaimed aloud that he was going to shoot it and began reaching into his coat when the creature stopped, and they all stared at each other for some time in total silence. Eventually, the creature turned away from the men and walked out towards the metal gray catwalks. The 2 men ran back to their vehicle and left back to town. It is worth mentioning that the 2 men were very into the stories being printed and even offered Roger Scarberry money to take them out to where they saw the creature, so maybe they made this up, maybe not. I just thought I'd throw that out there. They like offered him money. They were like, we have to see this Mothman.
I mean, it's weird that it just walked away. Because in all the other stories, it's not just walking away. It's actively like doing something or flying at people.
Yeah.
So this story is weird in the group.
It was strange, but still creepy. And stories like this continued. Many young people reported to the sheriff's office that they came nearly face to face with the creature, seeing it fly about over the trees, swoop down, and even land on their vehicles, running off into the trees after an encounter, and the sightings continued on well into the following year. Many of the people who reported seeing the creature saw it on several occasions. For example, Linda Scarberry claimed to see it outside her home after moving in with her parents, but that isn't the only thing that seemed to follow supposed witnesses of the cryptid. Author and paranormal investigator John Keel arrived in Point Pleasant in December after reading about the experiences of countless witnesses. He first stopped by the Mason County Courthouse to get caught up on what the police had found, and then headed on to the house of Mabel McDaniel, Linda Scarberry's mother. McDaniel gathered a few of the witnesses, including Linda Roger, Steve, Mary Mallett, reporter Mary Heyer, and her niece Connie. They all took Keel out to the location they first spotted the creature at around 9 p.m. that night. So, around the North Power Plant. They went through the gate of the North Power Plant and took a look around with nothing but a flashlight. They hadn't found anything at first, but as they were leaving, Connie suddenly screamed. She had seen the same 2 large red eyes staring at her. She ran, but Keel went back into the building to see if he could actually catch a glimpse of the creature, or at least an explanation for the glowing red lights. But nothing. By the time he left the North Power Plant, a deputy named Alva Sullivan had joined in on the search. Mary Heyer told Keel that they had seen a tall figure running around in the area and asked if it could have been him, but it wasn't, as he was in the building the whole time. The entire group, except for Keel, had heard the sounds of metal clanking as if someone were running around. So the entire group heard it. Then Mary Mallett's ear began to bleed inexplicably. She just started having blood come out of her ears.
Ew!
They thought it might just be time to return back to the McDaniel residence, where eventually her ear stopped bleeding. So they don't know why. Just like weird things are happening. And that night, Keel decided to return to the TNT area on his own and found that there was what he called a, quote, zone of fear that would cause him a mysterious and deeply set feeling of fear as he walked a small stretch of the road. He couldn't explain it as he couldn't see anything. He hadn't seen the Mothman. And I don't think he ever did see the Mothman. But it was the same feeling many witnesses claimed to have gotten when in its presence. So maybe it was out there watching. Keel spent a lot of time in the Point Pleasant area and began making connections to sightings and strange phenomena, including UFO sightings, mysterious beeping noises, and even poltergeist activity following their encounters. The Scarberrys and their family experienced it. Linda's mom, Mabel, experienced it after her sighting, and many others claimed to as well, happening all the way through to the next year. Virginia Thomas, the sister of Marcella Bennett, and a witness who spotted Mothman outside her home in the TNT area, along with a great number of other witnesses, began having strange sensations, including nightmares and what some would later consider premonitions. So much activity would happen. People were getting phone calls and hearing like strange voices on the other end, beeping noises like Morse code almost, like beeping noises outside their window. A lot of them had poltergeist activity, like things would start moving in their house. They would have like this weird energy. Some of them would smell cigar smoke when there wasn't smoke. And I don't know, it was just like a strange set of circumstances following sightings of Mothman.
Is he from another planet?
It's possible. That's one of the theories.
That's why the Men in Black and like the people are following him around. Or is he an experiment that, well, I wouldn't say got loose, because if he got loose, you think they just catch him if they're around him so often. What's going on?
So even before the first Mothman sighting, many people in the same area were reporting strange lights in the sky and UFO activity. John Keel thought the two might be connected. Sightings of UAPs were more numerous than the Mothman. Hundreds of people in the area had reported seeing these bright lights in the sky, and some even claimed to see UFOs and the Birdman creature on the same night in the same area. I read even of one account of a woman who was sure that she saw the Mothman fly up and meet a craft in the sky.
Collided?
No, like
Or-
go to.
oh,
was,
he
like on his way to the craft.
met with him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There were countless stories, and some people even claimed to have made contact with extraterrestrial beings. So, like, if you read his book, there are a lot of stories, not even just in the Point Pleasant area, but like all through like the Ohio Valley and even beyond, just of like strange UFO encounters and
Mhm.
people speaking with UFOs and I mean aliens, extraterrestrials. It's very interesting. I'm not getting too far in that because I feel like that goes a little further off of Mothman, which is why we're here today. But the really high strangeness began when the men in black began arriving to Point Pleasant. There were many of them, strange men that no one had ever seen before, sometimes wearing black suits, sunglasses, and black hats when not wearing outdated clothing. So some even reported them wearing like clothes that looked like they were like from 20 years before. Like, why? No one wears that anymore. Driving around town, watching people, and even taking photos of witnesses. Some of the Mothman and UFO witnesses claimed that they had strange men come to their door or their work, intimidating them or questioning them about their encounters in such a strange manner. So that everyone who had contact with one were like, they were weird. Like they were not normal people.
Yeah. Oh, do you think they work for Mothman?
Okay, there are a lot of theories.
Is he
and
like
we
a
can
mob
kind of-
boss? What is he?
Some say that they're connected in some way, like maybe they're all alien.
But he just
Some
is like
say
their
that-
king.
That they are government and they're investigating Mothman themselves.
Okay.
U.S. government, another government, it's unclear. Marcella Bennett claimed a strange man in a bushy wig was following her in his vehicle just outside of Point Pleasant. She tried to slow down to let him pass, but he stayed with her, even forcing her off of the road and like blockading her on the road while she had her daughter in the car. She was able to get away and never saw him again, but this was only the beginning for everyone. One strange man walked into Mary Hyer's office at the paper she worked for. She said he was very thin, about 4'6", wearing thick glasses and had long black hair. And most of the sightings of these people, these men in black, they had like really thick soled shoes. I kept seeing that a lot described in Keel's book. They all had like really thick soles. I don't know, like they are afraid of getting electrocuted or something. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. So he spoke to her in an odd voice, asking her for directions. He kept getting closer and closer to her, staring her in her eyes as if trying to hypnotize her. He claimed his truck broke down in Detroit and he hitchhiked into town and was trying to find a way to his destination. She was so alarmed by this man that she got her manager to come into the office with her. And as I walked back in, he was examining a ballpoint pen as if he had never seen a pen before in his life. And she offered, she's like, you can keep that if you want to. And he like got spooked and ran out of the building and out of sight. Just left. She saw him walking along the streets of Point Pleasant a few months later, wearing some sort of brown uniform and the same thick-soled shoes he had on before. When he realized she saw him, he looked startled and ran back to a black car that came driving around a corner and raced off out of sight once more. A few days later, Mary was entering her home at around 11:30 p.m. when she noticed a similar black vehicle parked outside. A man got out of the car with a camera, taking a photo of her before jumping back into the car and driving away.
Okay, now I get the hesitation
To speak
to
about
share.
it? Yeah.
What? This is literally, I cannot state it enough. This is not what I was thinking.
It gets weirder.
How?
I'll show you.
Oh my God.
So Connie Carpenter had her own incident with the so-called Men in Black, or they connected it to it anyway. She was walking home from school in February of 1967 when a black Buick pulled up beside her. The man inside opened the door and asked for directions. When she approached the vehicle, he reached out to grab her, but she quickly got away, leaving only with a ripped blouse sleeve. She ran home and locked the door, but the next day she found a threatening note under her door that said, "Be careful, girl, I can get you."
Oh!
Then people began impersonating others, claiming that they knew people around town that they didn't, and trying to get information about sightings and the people investigating. One woman approached a few of people in the Ohio Valley that John Keel had interviewed about their experiences, claiming to be his secretary. He said that he was even going to people that he hadn't heard had experiences just to kind of test it out to see if they would be visited by these people too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was like they were watching him. It's like they knew what was going on. They were surveilling him. She asked them questions about their UFO sightings, but then eventually veered off into deeply personal and intrusive questions about their families, their health, income, and even the vehicles that they drive. And John Keel did not have a secretary. Like it didn't exist.
Huh?
It was just some random girl going around impersonating, saying, like a lot of times they'd be like, "Oh, I know John Keel. I work for John Keel," or "I know this other guy who lives in this town."
What?
And none of these people knew. They're like, "No, I have no idea who that is." So some people were visited by these strange men, claimed that they weren't even that interested in their experiences, but rather more interested in what John Keel and Mary Hyre knew and were doing. They would claim to be from one area and then when pressed, not really know much about it. So like they'd say, oh, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. And so when someone who is from around there or knows things about that, like, oh, what about this place? You know, and they would be like, stutter and not know what they're talking about. So they're not really from Columbus, Ohio, you know?
Okay. Is Mothman still a thing that's spotted now? Or are you going to tell me?
Some people say that they do occasionally. Not really, though. Not really. But I'll tell you more about that later. So they would stare and act like it was their first day on Earth. Like they would do things and act in a way that was like, this is not normal. Like this is not how you interact with people, you know?
I've met some people like that, though.
True.
So,
from the same book I mentioned previously, John Keel was interviewed and said, quote, "They were always one step ahead of me. Say if I was driving to New Haven, West Virginia, they would show up 2 or 3 hours before I got there. And when I would get there, people would tell me, oh, we thought they were with you, and tell me incredible stories. And they took photographs of people. They took photographs, especially of children, which was a bit disturbing. Somehow small children were quite involved in this at the time. As you know, some of the people who saw the Mothman had babies with them when they saw the Mothman. I was a little afraid that maybe these big birds were after the small children. Mary Hyre took the brunt of all of this. She was well known in the area and people would talk to her, so I remained in close touch with her when I was back in New York." So John Keel lived in New York and he kept in touch with Mary, and Mary would keep him apprised of everything that was going on. Like, oh, we had another visit by this random guy and he keeps telling me that he knows you. All this weird stuff.
are we okay to do this?
Yes.
Are we supposed to be talking about this right now?
Yes, it's fine. What's strange is Linda was talking about in the same book in her interview, was talking about how it seemed that the men in black were very interested in children, and especially like the 4 or 5 children that of like some of the main people that saw and talked about Mothman, and like were often taking pictures. Linda claimed that one night she was asleep and woke up and saw the same guy that she had seen before, like in her house, watching her sleep, and they would keep crucifixes like by the kids' beds and stuff.
Yeah.
Because apparently that they thought that would help keep them away.
Yeah.
And it was like a sleep paralysis dream where she woke up and couldn't move and he was standing there and then all of a sudden he'd disappear. And so I don't know if that was just like her own fear, like, you know, projecting, or if like all of this was actually happening.
The Mothman, or the people surrounding him being interested in their children, is very weird to me. Because does Mothman eat children? Does Mothman take children?
Mothman eats animals, like dogs and stuff.
Why the kids? Also, did you say that they were interested in the people's kids that didn't have kids at the moment, but then they had them later in life?
Yeah.
So are they studying the effects of, like, is Mothman, like, radioactive?
I don't know. I mean, if people are getting conjunctivitis being close to him, like, I don't know if like maybe there's something with the eyes, like it's putting off some kind of something.
Like, are they testing, like, the effects of whatever Mothman is given off?
I don't know. But
I'm like,
there are many theories, and we'll never know the answer. But
okay.
John Keel thought the men in black could have been there as a way to distract them from the UFOs or Mothman. So they were there just to kind of like throw another wrench in the cog.
Yeah.
A cog in the wheel.
A wrench in the cog.
And may not have even been from this planet. So he thought maybe these men in black were like agents of another planet, possibly, because they were weird dudes.
I would agree.
The year of strange encounters continued on, and the closer to the end of 1967 came, the stranger people's encounters became. As I mentioned before, some people began having dreams that they didn't really understand, and some even claimed they were receiving messages somehow, prophecies of what was to come. Mary Hyre told Keel about a dream she had of presents and people floating in the river, and she wasn't sure what it meant, but she knew it wasn't good. And she isn't the only one. Like, a lot of these people were having, after their encounters with Mothman, they were having like premonitions, prophecies being spoken to them and given to them.
So is Mothman good or bad?
Why are you asking me?
What do you think? What do you think?
So a lot of people like Linda Scarberry, she's not Scarberry anymore. Her and Roger are divorced, but Linda says that he was just scared and he wasn't there to harm them and maybe there to help them. I don't know. Some also believe that Mothman was like an omen of some kind, like, which I'll touch on in a minute.
Okay.
The afternoon of December 15th, 1967 was unlike any other this close to Christmas. People were on their way home from work and doing their holiday shopping when tragedy struck. The Silver Bridge, named so because of its color, collapsed, dropping cars and people all through the freezing river. So it was the bridge connecting Ohio to West Virginia, right there in Point Pleasant. Rescue started almost immediately, but 46 people lost their lives that day. It was the worst road bridge disaster in U.S. history. Subsequent investigations found that one of the eye bars was cracked, probably on installation, probably on formation, really, and the years of wear and tear, as well as the weight of the holiday traffic, pushed it to its limits. This disaster actually led to congressional passage of national bridge inspection standards the following year, so it was a huge ordeal. There are some who believe that Mothman was there as an omen, a way to let people know that something horrible was about to happen. Though some claimed to see a large bird flying over the bridge not long before the collapse happened, and there were even some reports of strange men climbing the bridge just the day before. Sightings slowed significantly afterwards. So after the bridge collapse, sightings plummeted. Like maybe you get one here and there, but yeah, it was like no one saw Mothman again.
So one, either Mothman and his goons made it happen, or they knew it was gonna happen and they were coming to tell you like, hey, fix
Something's
the bridge.
about to happen. Yeah.
That, or they're like, oh, we're here and we're gonna bring chaos.
Bring chaos or collect data on what chaos brings.
That too. Oh my
I don't know.
gosh. I have like a headache right now. I'm thinking too much.
It's weird. It's all weird. The week after the bridge collapse, Mary Hyre was busy in her office. She had been working day and night reporting on the incident, so she was like kind of one of the main reporters, and it was like literally day and night getting calls from news station after news station all over the world wanting information about the bridge. The afternoon of December 22nd brought two more strange men wearing black overcoats. Rather than being interested in the bridge, which is all she had been talking about with people from all over the world, they wanted to know about UFO reports. She handed them a large folder with many of the sightings and press clippings. They briefly reviewed it, but still seemed like they weren't quite done. They asked Mary what she would do if she were ordered to stop writing about the subject. She told them she'd keep writing anyway. It was a strange question, but she went back to work and the men eventually left.
As she should. And what were they going to do about it?
Later,
Turn her into a moth woman?
Maybe. Later that same day, a man who said his name was Jack Brown walked into her office. He asked her the same question. What would she do if she were ordered to stop writing about UFOs? He claimed to be a UFO researcher himself, and she answered him the same way and asked if he was with the other two men that visited just earlier that day. But he claimed not to know what she was talking about. He was very interested in John Keel and then asked if Mary could take him around town to the various locations of sightings, but she declined. She was like, I'm busy. You can go do it yourself. I'm about to go home. I've been busy all day. Jack Brown also visited Connie Carpenter, so her niece. He only had questions about Mary Hyre and asked her the same question, what she thought Mary would do if she were ordered to stop researching and writing about the UFOs. He even visited the McDaniel home after the birth of Linda's child. He brought a tape recorder and asked questions about UFOs and John Keel, and the same question about Mary Hyre. It was almost like an intimidation tactic. He was very odd and stayed for hours and was never seen by any of them again. So like he just like came, everyone's in the neighborhood was coming to visit, like, oh, sweet baby. And he was just like, hey, let's talk about UFOs, and just kind of like hovered for hours in their home. To a point where they were like, oh.
Okay, thanks. Are the people, like, are they moth people? Can they shift?
Oh, that's an interesting take.
Or is it
like
one,
the shapeshifters of some kind?
One Mothman?
Depends
not
on who you talk
Mothmen.
about. Or depends on who you are talking to about it. Some believe there may have been more than one. Many believe there was only one.
But someone described it as gray or brown, right? And then someone else said like flesh tone, which I guess can be close to brown, but...
And it was also dark when most of the people saw it.
Yeah. But then someone else said like covered in feathers, right?
Yeah. There were a lot of weird...
not adding up. Is it like a whole like...
community?
Yeah. Are they moth people?
I don't know. The strange and mysterious phenomenon of not only seeing the bird creature, but also having premonitions, weird dreams, phone calls with strange voices, and beeping noises all led John Keel to write his book, Mothman Prophecies. There's also a movie starring Richard Gere that came out in the early 2000s, which I haven't watched yet, but I'm definitely going to.
Richard Gere?
Yeah.
About Mothman?
Yeah. It's about, like, I think his wife or his girlfriend or something dies, and he has to, like, go to Point Pleasant because of all the prophecies and stuff. And I don't know. It seems very interesting. I'm definitely going to watch it. I just didn't have time to yet. We should do that. Let's watch a movie
Watch it
together.
on stream. Oh my god.
If we
could.
Very strange. If you are interested in reading about more UFO encounters, not only in Point Pleasant, I suggest you read the book. Very strange, very interesting. He makes all these connections between the bridge and the UFO people and all of the sightings from way out further than West Virginia. It's very weird. It's unexplainable why all of the witnesses began having such odd experiences following the sightings and really set the Mothman legend into stone. John Keel connected all of the phenomenon and thought there could be some kind of connection between all of the events, and the so-called Men in Black really are a cherry on top of all of the weird. He thought it was no coincidence that sightings of the giant bird almost completely stopped following the bridge collapse, and there are some people who connect other tragedies all over the world with sightings of UFOs and a strange Mothman-esque creature. The people who believe that Mothman was a harbinger of doom, of tragedy, make connections of a Mothman visit to the Chernobyl disaster of 1986. They say some people claim to see a giant winged beast just before it happened. Others say he was spotted before the swine flu outbreak in Mexico in 2009 and even before the 2011 nuclear disaster in Fukushima, Japan. There may have been other tragedies and disasters out there who Mothman warned about, but no one made the connection. So he could just be an omen of tragedy to come.
And he's on our couch.
No, this is not the bad one. Others believe that Mothman may have been connected to the UFO somehow, maybe even being an alien himself. Which, side note, could you imagine, like, Mothman was what the aliens thought we were, and he was trying to come down and, like, communicate with us? He was the first prototype, and they made him this animal creature, and it's like, oh, we've screwed up.
Oh gosh. So then they're like studying everybody else to say like, did you see him? What happened? How did you feel? Trying to gauge the situation.
Like, find him maybe. Like, each time a Men in Black came, they were like a new rendition of a human, and they were just trying to perfect their people to come down and like infiltrate our societies.
Dude, I don't know. I do think that there are some people not of this earth that live among us. I really do.
You've told me before.
Because I have met some people where it just cannot be explained the way that they act.
And that's how these people were.
And I'm not saying that negatively about them. I am just seriously
making an observation.
You're a very curious creature. Like, not creature, human, person. Just very, very curious.
Okay. Then there's the idea that what people were seeing was simply a very large bird. Maybe the descriptions weren't all that accurate as to what they were seeing. I mean, it was night. It was dark. I mean, you're in the middle of these woods. It's kind of creepy. Some birds, like barred owls, do have eyes that reflect red when light is shined on them. Wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith postulated that it could have been a large sandhill crane. Though they weren't really native to the area, it could have deviated from its natural migration patterns or ended up in the area by, like, accident or something. They are large and have red around their eyes, so maybe that was it. And some even say that maybe the toxins released into the water from the TNT may have mutated a bird or an animal, or maybe even caused hallucinations to the people in the area, making it look very unusual compared to a regular bird and causing fear because people had never seen anything like it. And there are even some who say that it could be like government testing too, like you said.
I was thinking government testing, but it is very interesting because our brains are kind of conditioned when we see something unknown, we try to find its features and like make it a human or make it an animal.
Like pareidolia.
Yes. Yeah. I don't. I have much to think about, much to ponder.
It's possible that some of the original sightings were actually large birds in the middle of the night, and it like created a frenzy, maybe something akin to mass hysteria, and many people began reporting seeing the same thing, though it never really existed. There were some people who actually they killed a very large owl in the area and claimed that was the Mothman, like it was actually just a really big owl. And I saw some pictures of people who claimed to take a picture of Mothman like more recently, and it looks like an owl flying. And like if you look, like if their legs are outstretched when they fly, it kind of looks like a man.
Because owls
or a person.
Owls do have really long legs.
Yes.
And it's creepy. But 7 feet tall.
Yeah, that's where it is a little
there's a stretch.
A little funky.
That's a stretch for it to be an owl.
So the mass hysteria was like created, and people were like, "Oh, I see it too. Oh, I see it too. It's the Mothman," and it wasn't ever really there. And if you pair that with pranksters that no doubt capitalize on the excitement, you could end up with something like the Mothman craze. There are also some out there that believe the Mothman was a demon, a dark manifestation of the tragedy that was to come. He may have come from hell itself to terrorize the people of Point Pleasant. Because a lot of people, like, he's like this man, creature, animal, beast thing.
Yeah.
Witnesses, like Linda Scarberry, insist that they know what they saw. It looked nothing like a bird, and they continue to this day to claim that the Mothman was something else entirely. It wasn't a manifestation of their imagination or a prank or anything like that. And there could be something to it, considering a rash of sightings in Chicago of a similar winged creature. From 2011 to up now, even maybe, there have been over 55 sightings of a giant bird-like creature soaring over the skies of the Windy City.
What?
There is a website where you can find the locations of the sightings, and there are some who insist that what they saw wasn't natural, just like the residents of Point Pleasant.
It's okay. It's current?
Well, I don't know if it's recent, but I know it was in the 2020s. People were still like possibly seeing something. And it could have been a weird bat or an owl or something in Chicago, but
I would
people were
believe
seeing
that.
some weird things.
I
in the
would
sky.
believe that if they were like, oh, he was like 4 feet tall, 3 feet tall, but 7 feet.
Some people have said it was more like 4 feet. Like in some of the sightings of Mothman in Point Pleasant and surrounding areas, some people said it was closer to 4 feet. But there are the more like earlier versions of it, it was like 7 feet tall. It was huge.
I don't know what to believe.
Though if I looked out at something, I could not gauge its height.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I don't know what to believe because if I saw something and it was big, say it was probably 4 feet, I'd be like, it was like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
So,
whether you believe in the cryptid or not, there is no doubt that it left its mark on the small town of Point Pleasant, as well as the world. As I mentioned in the beginning, the town still holds a yearly festival celebrating their famous cryptid, and a statue was dedicated to the creature, sitting in the middle of town to this day. If you'd like to attend this year, it's being held September 20th through 21st. And make sure you visit the Mothman Museum to see all the documents, handwritten accounts, and other oddities about the creature. So they have a whole year-round museum in Point Pleasant. They're really cool. Thousands of people from all over the world flocked to the streets of Point Pleasant to celebrate and commemorate the strange and unusual year of Mothman. I mean, even Build-A-Bear has a Mothman line. It's a big source of tourism for the town today, and I know the people of West Virginia are proud of their guy. We also have a West Virginia listener who sent in a picture of their car. It's like a Mothman-themed car. It's
yeah.
super cute.
Since I became aware of Mothman, I've seen several Mothman bumper stickers and license plate frames.
Yeah, there are a few around town. So I'll leave you with the inscription of the Mothman statue, and you tell me what you believe.
Okay.
On a chilly fall night in November 1966, two young couples drove into the TNT area north of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, when they realized they were not alone. What they saw that night has evolved into one of the great mysteries of all time. Hence, the Mothman legacy began. It has grown into a phenomenon known all over the world by millions of curious people asking questions. What really happened? What did these people see? Has it been seen since? It still sparks the world's curiosity. The mystery behind Point Pleasant, West Virginia's Mothman.
What do you believe?
I don't know what I believe. I believe there's something to it. I want to believe. I believe there's something strange about it.
I'm not disappointed about this episode.
You put so much stress on me. That's why I read like 2 books and like 500 articles about Mothman. I'm
not disappointed because
I'm so stressed.
I am surprised.
It's a lot of intrigue.
I thought you were going to come up here and say, it's a large moth and people say he walks like a man. And I was going to go, oh, okay, wow.
No.
Now I have way more questions than answers.
Same.
Way more questions than I had before.
Yeah.
And I think the government is experimenting on
Moths.
the Mothman.
It's possible.
So now
it's been a while.
I haven't seen a moth in a long time.
I had one attack me in my home just the other day.
Great. I'm leaving feeling unfinished, unsettled.
Okay. Do you believe in the Mothman?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I believe he exists still today.
I don't know.
But I do believe something like it existed in the 60s, which, by the way, at the very beginning, I said 67. It was actually 66. So I apologize to everyone. I know there's probably comments right now. I realized about like a quarter of the way through the intro, I was like, oh no.
I was wondering
we were already too far gone.
When you said 66. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Insane, right?
I believe in the Mothman.
This is like your first cryptid.
That I believe in?
Yeah, right? There wasn't any other one that you did, right?
Oh, because you kind of...
no, you believe Bigfoot.
You kind of flipped my mind on Bigfoot just a little bit, so...
Do you believe in Mothman more than Bigfoot? Or are they, like, about the same?
Mothman has a statue in a museum.
I mean, so does Bigfoot.
But, like, the whole... I don't know.
It was a whole ordeal.
And I think it's more believable to me because it's centralized mostly in that one area.
Yeah. And
so
I mean, like, with 100-mile radius, people were
Yeah, it's not
There,
like
I watched a whole documentary on it too. I consumed a lot of Mothman material.
like Bigfoot is everywhere in every country and region and place all over the world has a Bigfoot. But West Virginia has Mothman.
Yeah.
Shout out West Virginia.
Really cool. I personally would really like to go to the Mothman Festival.
Yes, I was going to
Like
say
maybe
that.
next year.
Yes, next year I will be at the Mothman Festival as my
We'll put it out in the universe.
birthday present.
Okay.
Late birthday present. Wow.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Like this video if you like it. Share it with your friends if you feel compelled to do so. And subscribe for more. Leave a comment down below. Let us know. Do you believe in Mothman or not?
Yeah,
You
I don't
do.
know.
Okay.
And shout out Joe again
Yes.
for our large Mothman.
So cute.
I'm obsessed with
A
him.
perfect addition to this episode.
I'm so excited about this. Our room that we're recording in this in is just getting smaller and smaller
I
with
know,
all of these
surrounded
gifts.
by all our things.
And you
It's
guys are too
amazing.
kind. So thank you so much. This made me like cry. And yeah, Mothman is real.
We believe
And
in
if he's
Mothman.
not real, he's real in my heart. And he's real on this set.
He is. He's alive and well. See you Monday.
Goodbye.